How does a person like me, who has a certain amount of public face, how do I manage this? How do I keep it controlled and hold it from destroying me?
Well, first of all, don't do things that are going to get yourself destroyed.
So you get completely ethical and authentic.
Ethical and authentic, which I don't really see the downside to that.
Yeah.
The other part of it is you need to know how to communicate with your neighbor. You need to learn how to be a good neighbor.
So in essence, it's fixing our relationships. It's making us much more careful.
Because that was the result of the 300 years of no community.
Right.
You know, we don't know who our neighbors are.
Yeah.
We become kind of cold and insulated, and a lot of things that happen inside of society that aren't considered positive happen because
this is amazing. I've never seen this side of the internet or this side of marketing, the way you're describing it, and yet you made it so practical. I understand you've had very successful campaigns. Do you call them campaigns or events?
Campaigns will work.
So talk to me about the Lola Techie and Lola Techie or whatever it is. Tell me, how did you make it such a successful thing? How come people are talking about it all the time?
Well, the first thing that I'd like to do is I'd like to acknowledge the marketing manager for that, the man named John Rojo.
John Rojo?
Rojo.
Rojo from BBDO or from your company?
He's actually from Bayan. He's a very open-minded.
From Buy and Tell.
Yeah, a very open-minded, innovative thinker.
Right.
And the first thing that he allowed me to do was he allowed me to break certain rules of marketing.
Which everyone should do every now and then.
Oh, yes. And the first rule that he allowed me to break was the idea that marketing campaigns should be completely created, fully thought out, and then executed.
Yeah, blast out.
When an entrepreneur starts a business, entrepreneurs don't start businesses thinking that they're going to be perfect.
Yeah.
They put it out there. Some things go well.
They chug along.
Some things don't go well, and they fix the things that don't go well and improve it as they go along. So, in the case of Lola Techie, it didn't start off as Lola Techie.
Yeah.
It started off as Teach Lola, which was an advocacy to inspire grandchildren.
By Buy and Tell.
By Buy and Tell.
What part did BBDO play in it?
Okay. Well, we proposed the advocacy. BBDO came up with a commercial, which was Lola Techie.
Right.
But Buy-in's advertising budget was really tiny. So what Geiser Maclang did was Geiser Maclang turned her into something we call a composite personality, which is basically a fictional character written like a sitcom, only that sitcom takes place on Facebook, on Twitter, on Multiply.
She made small snippets of action.
Small snippets of communication, her life. She engages with people, and the interesting thing about that was now she's a person, and
she's become alive.
Well, yeah, because brands, and this is the part that people don't understand, brands are artificial entities. They are citizens. In the tax code, they're citizens. In the legal sense, they're citizens. But we don't treat them like citizens. It's hard to have a conversation with a corporation.
We treat them as packages of things on a shelf.
Right. But in this particular case, Lola Techie was different. She's a face.
Right.
And she was a face that you could talk to. You could have a relationship with. You could play
like
Mafia Wars.
Like Rambo or Rocky. In a way, yeah.
Right. And she could play Mafia Wars with them on Facebook, and she did. Yeah. And we patterned her just like you would a blogger. And it was perfect synergy because she was the face of Teach Lola, and she was the face
the analog age people,
right? And she was the face of teaching, and she was the face of the commercials, and she was the face online, and it worked together, and it caused a tremendous increase in Buy-in's DSL subscriber base as a result of this, because it was all about causing an action, which was selling DSL.
Now for people who are not corporates and they don't have huge budgets like Buy and Tell or others, small NGOs, small businesses, I have friends, they call them mission ministries of the Philippines. They're not for profit, they're building schools, and they need a presence, they need a face, they need a brand. What tips would you give them? What can they do? Should they go to Facebook, or should they go to Blogger? What do they do?
First of all, NGOs need to understand that in the current environment, they are the most powerful entities on the internet.
Why is that?
Because they are doing things that are purely social. Most companies...
Also, they have no selfish motive.
They have no selfish motive. They are the top dog. They are the great white sharks of the internet. They just don't know it, because what happens is they're thinking in outdated marketing terms.
Like flyering on the street. Or,
Right,
yeah.
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. What they need to be doing is they need to be telling stories about what it is that they're doing.
Where do they go to tell these stories?
They can go on the internet. They can use social networking,
Multiple blog
blogs,
sites, yeah.
anything that they want, and they don't have to just create their own. They can engage bloggers and have them talk that way. They can engage journalists. Journalists love sharing these kind of stories. Bloggers love sharing these kind of stories. They just have to be good at telling the stories. That's all.
No, so do they go online, or this is face-to-face?
Either
which way?
All entity, all manner of social is useful, because if you in this world that we live in,
as long as it's expressed out.
Yeah, if you're telling a good story, if I tell a good story to you in the media, that's obviously a shortcut. But if I tell a good story to you in church, then the next and then you go online and you happen to make a shout out about it in Facebook, and later on somebody does
Picks
a
it
little
up.
research about it, picks it up, and the next thing you know, it's all over the internet and you're appearing in the media anyway. It's about the story. It's about what unique good you're actually doing.
So no flyering, no standing on street, no newspaper ads.
Master the story.
Master the storytelling.
Yes.
Great. Now, how about people who have a selfish motive, people who are in it for money, people like me, consultants, trainers, coaches? How do we go and put our face out there? Of course, we do good work too.
Right. Well, as far as I call, what I believe in is something called positional advocacy. In traditional CSR, corporate social responsibility, what happens is companies make a lot of money and they give a little money back. You know, they call it giving back.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I guess it's okay, but what I believe...
You don't get thrilled by it.
What I believe in is, I believe that companies should make money based on how much good they do for society. And I believe that marketing plans should be the principal tool by which they do things.
One more time. Run that over me slowly. They should make money.
They should be making money based on how much good they do for society.
How do they measure that?
Well, I'll take Lola Techie for a moment.
Yeah.
Lola Techie, she is fundamentally an advocacy about inspiring grandchildren to teach their grandparents to use Facebook so we can close the social divide.
It's just a little message. It's nothing huge.
Well, it doesn't have
no
to
physical, no tangible change, but just a thought.
Well, think about it this way. How many corporations are there in the Philippines?
Few thousand.
Right.
The
What
big
if a
ones,
few
yeah.
thousand corporations dedicated every marketing campaign to doing something a little bit socially positive?
Right.
Can you imagine what a different country this would be?
Right. It would be a brand new country right away.
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
And the beautiful thing is, there's two kinds of communication. There's the commercial communication. It's about buying, selling, owning, identity, things like that. And then there's social communication, which is about belonging and status and social relevance and things like that. And all corporation needs to learn how to do is know when to have commercial conversations and when to have social conversations, and they can participate in this.
No, so the third thing you said was that they should balance the marketing based on how much good they do.
Yes.
What did that mean?
Well, instead of earning money and then just giving a little bit back, if you have an advocacy that's, I guess you could call it aligned with what your business interests are, it acts like marketing.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
and it does the same. It basically does the same thing, only, and you don't have to hide or be. You don't have to call it. You can call it a marketing campaign. It's when we did Lola Techie, it was a marketing campaign through and through, and we made no bones about it, no apologies for it. But it accomplished a social good, and it spoke to a social deficit that really needed to be filled. And as a result of that,
Bang,
people
you
said,
have so much success.
we want to work with that company.
Yeah.
We want to do business with that company.
If corporations can do that and they can change the face of the country, what should the country be able to make the same kind of efforts to change its image worldwide?
Should the country make the same kind of effort?
Yeah.
Well, what this can...
One unified effort as, hey, here I am.
Yes.
President is saying, let's do this.
I think that the country now needs to choose where it wants to invest its will towards doing good.
That's within its boundaries or just in the flat world?
Well, in the flat world, I can't speak for other countries outside of the Philippines. I even feel a little nervous talking, on behalf of the Philippines. I'm not Pinoy.
We're not taking sides. That's okay.
I think that we need to choose where we want to invest our efforts and focus, and
for example,
and accomplish.
An example would be.
Personally, my personal...
well, you've been in this country for 11 years.
Yeah.
You're Filipino kids. You have invested time, money, effort, blood, and sweat in this country.
True.
You help the business people, and you don't have to say everything. Say a few good things.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, my personal advocacy is to erase all of, inside of the Philippines, all of the old stereotypes regarding marketing, so that the Philippines can become more and more competitive. I believe the Philippines could be a global communications power. I believe that we have, I believe that from a networking and social standpoint, we are to networking what Koreans are to mathematics.
The Chinese to manufacturing.
And the Chinese to manufacturing. And, they might build robots one day who can do computers that can do math, and robots that can do manufacturing, but they'll never build one that can do networking.
Brad, we're coming to an end of this show. It's been wonderful talking to you, but I have two more questions to you before you go. Number one, I still have to read the book called Marketing for Dummies.
Okay.
So what is that one question that I should have asked you in the last 20 minutes?
The one question that you should have asked me in the last 20 minutes is, what is the difference between commercial communication and a social communication?
So what is the difference between commercial communication and social communication, Brad?
The social communication is objective. The commercial communication is subjective.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we don't make decisions in the commercial sphere. In other words, if you bring your wife shopping, chances are she'll do a lot more shopping than buying. Because everything is subjective. Everything is like, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if she's talking to her friend and her friend holds up a new purse that she's bought, and she goes, don't you just love it? Her friend has no there's no subjectivity that's involved there. Her friend is simply saying she loves it because she loves it.
It's a good thing.
And the decisions get made socially.
Yeah.
They don't get made commercially.
All right, okay.
So belief happens socially, memory happens commercially.
And the reactions are mostly commercial.
And that's
reaction.
it.
Okay, you got 1 minute to go.
Okay.
It's been wonderful having you here. I'd like to bring you back to the show one more time, sometime in January. But if there's anything you want to say to your customers, to your clients, to your family, or to the team at Geiser Maclang, it's your time.
My advocacy is to help Filipinos become the greatest marketing country in Asia. I think we have a good shot at it. If anybody has any questions that they want to ask me, I'm always free to talk to them, either via email, via chat, or I give presentations for free all the time. Thank you.
Bravo, bravo, and salamat po. So it's been great having you here at Expert Insights. That was Brad Geiser from Geiser Maclang. We'll take a break and we'll come back with Dennis Ang of Imago Image Consulting from Singapore. Thank you for being with this show. Stay seated.